You do not even know what a cortado is. Just get black coffee and leave.
I want a cortado, please.
Welcome in. What can I get you today? We need to protect the vibe. Slow service makes them leave.
I built this company from nothing. I can explain this situation. You had your chance already.
Did this man just walk in here like he belongs? The words weren't whispered, they were thrown. Sharp, loud, meant to land. The cafe went quiet for a second. Not silent, just thinner, like the air pulled back to watch. Marcus Reed didn't look up right away. He stood at the counter, hands resting lightly on the worn wood. His jacket was faded. His shoes carried the dust of real work. Nothing about him asked for attention. Nothing about him defended itself either. Ashley Carter leaned against the register, phone still in her hand. Her eyes moved slowly over him, top to bottom, like she had already made a decision and was just confirming it. "You ordering?" she said flat. "Or just standing there?" "A cortado, please." Megan Blake let out a short laugh from the espresso machine. "A what?" "A cortado," Marcus repeated, calm, steady. Ashley smirked. "You even know what that is?" A couple by the window glanced over. Not long, just enough. Megan didn't look up as she wiped the counter. "Just get him a black coffee," she said. "Keep it simple." Ashley leaned in slightly, voice dropping just enough to feel personal. "Yeah, take it to go. There's a curb outside." No one said anything. Not the man in the suit checking his watch. Not the woman stirring her latte too slowly. Not the 6 people in line who heard every word. Marcus reached into his pocket, pulled out a few bills, set them down without a word. Ashley picked them up with 2 fingers, like they might be wet. She didn't ask his name, didn't meet his eyes. She scribbled 2 letters on the cup. Big, quick, careless. He noticed. He said nothing. The cortado came out lukewarm, the milk slightly off, the kind of mistake that isn't really a mistake. Marcus took it anyway. He walked to a corner table, sat down slowly, like the chair mattered. The cafe filled back in around him. Noise returned, conversations resumed. But something he stayed off, like a note that didn't resolve. He picked up the banana bread from the plate, took a bite, chewed once, twice, then stopped. Not because of the taste. The bread was good. Surprisingly good. He stopped because of the voices behind the counter. They thought he was out of range. They were wrong. "Did you see him counting those coins?" Megan said, low but not careful. Ashley laughed, painful. "I don't get why people like that come in here," Megan added. "This isn't a shelter." Ashley tapped her phone. "Give it 10 minutes. He'll sit there all day. 1 drink, no tip." "They never tip," Megan said. A pause, then quieter, sharper. Ashley nodded seriously. "This place is turning into a bus station." "Craig won't do anything," Megan said. "He likes the numbers, doesn't care who's in here." Ashley's voice dropped again. "Then we make it uncomfortable. Slow service. No smiles. They'll leave." Marcus set the banana bread down, carefully. His hand didn't shake, but his jaw tightened, just enough. He looked at the table. A faint coffee ring stained the wood. Old. Ignored. He reached into his jacket, pulled out his phone, opened the Notes app, typed one word, "rot." Then he sat there and watched. A young couple walked in. Clean clothes. Confident steps. Ashley lit up instantly. "Welcome in." Her voice changed. Warmer, softer, almost bright. She leaned forward, smiled, asked about their day. Marcus watched her hand them drinks with both hands. Eye contact. A laugh that didn't belong to the room from a minute ago. 5 minutes later, an older man walked in, work boots. Paint on his jeans. He stood at the counter, waited. No greeting, no eye contact. Megan turned away, started scrolling her phone. The man cleared his throat. Nothing. Marcus leaned back in his chair, slow breath in, slow breath out. He had seen this before. Not here. Not in this place, but in rooms like this, in systems like this. Built quietly, maintained casually, denied completely. He picked up the cup. Took another sip, still lukewarm, still wrong. He stayed for 40 minutes, long enough to see the pattern, long enough to feel it settle into something undeniable, long enough to know this wasn't about 2 employees having a bad day. This was structure, this was policy without paperwork. This was culture. When Marcus finally stood, no one noticed. No one said thank you, No one said goodbye. He walked to the door, pushed it open. The bell chimed softly overhead. Outside, the air felt different, cleaner, honest. He paused on the sidewalk, turned once, looked through the glass, at the counter, at the smiles, at the people being chosen, and the ones being erased. Marcus Reed stood there for a moment, hands in his pockets, shoulders still. A man most people would walk past, a man they already had. Then he pulled out his phone, scrolled once, stopped on a contact, and for the first time since he walked in, something shifted in his eyes. Not anger, not even disappointment, decision. Because the man they told to sit on the curb had built every table in that room. And what he had just seen was not a mistake. It was a system. And systems, once seen clearly, don't stay standing for long. Marcus didn't call right away. He stood there on the sidewalk, watching his own reflection faintly overlap the inside of the cafe. People moved past him. A bus exhaled at the corner. Somewhere down the block, a siren cut through traffic. Inside, Ashley laughed again. Bright, easy, like nothing had happened. Marcus slid his phone back into his pocket. Not yet. That night he sat alone at his kitchen table. Small place, clean, quiet. The kind of place that didn't need to prove anything. A folder sat in front of him. Laura Mitchell had dropped it off that morning. You need to read these, she had said. No small talk, no smile. Marcus opened it. Printed reviews. Page after page. He read the first one slowly. They looked at me like I didn't belong in my own city. He flipped to the next. The girl at the counter spoke to me like I was a problem. Another. I left my drink untouched. I didn't feel welcome. He stopped, leaned back, closed his eyes for a moment, then kept going. The words started to repeat. Not exact sentences, but the same feeling, over and over. Unwelcome. Ignored, embarrassed, disrespected. Marcus set the pages down. The room felt smaller. He reached for his laptop, opened the company dashboard. 40 stores, revenue steady, growth consistent. Everything looked right. Until he clicked on customer satisfaction. The flagship store. Dead last. He stared at it. Longer than he needed to. Then he picked up his phone. Craig, it's Marcus. A pause. Then a shift in tone on the other end. Polite, controlled. Mr. Reed. Good evening. Everything all right? I'm looking at the feedback from your store. Another pause. Shorter this time. Right. We've had some noise. People complain when they don't get what they want. 22 complaints about staff behavior in 6 months. Craig exhaled lightly. With all due respect, sir, customers can be sensitive. My team is hitting targets. Sales are strong. Marcus watched the wall as he listened. You think this is about sensitivity? He asked. I think it's about expectations, Craig said smoothly. We can't control how people feel. There it was. That tone, not defensive, not even nervous. Practiced. Marcus nodded to himself, though Craig couldn't see it. I appreciate your time, he said, and hung up. No argument, no warning. Just later that night, Marcus drove. No driver, no assistant, just him. The city felt different after dark. Less noise, more truth. He parked across the street from the flagship. Engine off, lights on inside. He watched through the glass 2 employees behind the counter, one wiping the machine, slow, unfocused. The other leaning on the register, phone in hand. A man walked in. Work boots again, different guy, same posture. He stood at the counter, waited. 5 seconds, 10, 15, no greeting, no movement. Marcus tightened his grip on the steering wheel. Finally, the girl at the register looked up, said something, flat. The man nodded, ordered, no smile, no eye contact. Behind him, a young couple stepped in. Clean jackets, confident steps. The shift was immediate. The girl straightened, phone gone. Hey guys, welcome in! Same voice Marcus had heard earlier. Same performance. Marcus leaned back. 40 stores. Thousands of employees. And the one place that started it all was broken. Not loud, not obvious, but deep. He pulled out his phone again. Opened the employee schedule. Names filled the screen. He scanned quickly, then slower. Patterns showed up fast when you knew how to look. Ashley Carter, Megan Blake, every peak shift, every busy hour. Then another name, Emily Parker. Marcus frowned slightly. 5 a.m., openings, late night closes every day, no peak hours, no overlap, just empty time week after week. He stared at the name. Something about it didn't sit right. He closed the schedule, started the engine, drove home without music, without distraction. Just the sound of the road and his own thoughts. At a red light, he glanced at his reflection in the rearview mirror. Same worn jacket, same face Ashley had dismissed in seconds. He almost smiled, not because it was funny, because it was clear. They hadn't made a mistake. They had made a decision. And decisions like that didn't happen by accident. Marcus pulled into his building, turned off the car, sat there a moment longer, then finally reached for his post. This time he dialed. It rang once. Ray. Yeah, I'm going back in. A pause. Then, you want me to pull the footage? We can handle this fast. No, Marcus's voice stayed calm. If we fire 2 people, we fix one problem. Silence on the other end. I want to know how deep this goes, Marcus said. I want to see it, not as the owner. Another pause. You're serious. I've never been more serious. Ray exhaled slowly. All right, what do you need? A name in the system. Transfer higher, entry level. Done. Marcus looked up at the dark building in front of him. No one knows who I am when I walk in, he added. Not a single person. Ray didn't answer right away. Then quietly, you think it's that bad? Marcus thought about the coins on the counter, the letters on the cup, the word filtering. It's worse, he said, and ended the call. Upstairs, he pulled an old polo from the back of his closet. Plain, gray, forgettable. He set it on the chair. Next to it, his watch. Expensive, clean, precise. He took it off, left it there, then stood in front of the mirror for a long time. The man looking back didn't look like a founder, didn't look like someone who built something from nothing. He looked like someone easy to ignore, easy to dismiss, easy to push out. Marcus nodded once. Good, because tomorrow he was walking back into that cafe. And this time, he wasn't leaving until he saw everything. Marcus pushed open the back door at 5 in the morning. The metal hinge groaned. Paint chipped along the edges. No camera above it. No welcome sign. Just a narrow entrance that smelled like old coffee and bleach. Inside, the break room lights flickered once before settling. A microwave hummed quietly. A stack of paper cups leaned against the wall. Someone had left a half-eaten sandwich on the table, wrapped in plastic that had already started to curl. Marcus stepped in, slow, observing. He didn't speak, didn't need to. A young woman stood at the sink, filling a container with water, dark hair pulled tight, apron already on. Movements quick, precise. She glanced at him once. Not long, you're the transfer? She asked. Yeah, Henry, right? Marcus nodded. She turned back to the sink. Clock's over there. We open in 30. Her voice wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold either, just focused. Marcus walked to the time clock, punched in. 5:01 a.m., the early shift. He watched her move. She didn't waste steps, didn't check her phone, didn't slow down. Espresso, machine on. Cups stacked, counter wiped, milk rotated, everything in rhythm. Lids are under the second sink, she said without looking at him. First one sanitizer. Don't mix them up. Marcus walked over, checked. She was right. What's your name? He asked. Emily. She didn't stop moving. How long you been here? 4 years. 4 years. Marcus leaned lightly against the counter. You like it? That made her pause. Just for a second. Her hand hovered over a stack of cups. Then she kept going. I like the coffee, she said. Not the place, not the people, the coffee. Marcus nodded slowly. At 6:40, the bell above the front door chimed. An older man stepped in. Tall, slow, careful steps. Coat too heavy for the season. Emily looked up, and something changed. Not dramatic. Subtle. Her shoulders softened, her voice shifted. Walter, she said. Oat milk cortado, extra warm? The man smiled, real smile, the kind that's from being remembered. You remember. Every day, she said. Sit down. I'll bring it over. She made the drink herself. Careful, exact. Walked it out with both hands. Set it down in front of him. Walter nodded. You're the only reason I still come here. Emily smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. Marcus saw it. The gap between what she said and what she felt. He turned back to the counter. Customers started coming in. One after another. Morning rush building. At exactly 10 o'clock, the door opened again. Ashley walked in. Megan right behind her. Loud, confident, already laughing about something, a phone. The air shifted. Marcus felt it before anyone spoke. Emily moved, not forward, back, to the shelves, to the stock, to the space no one sees. Ashley didn't greet her, didn't even look at her. Did you restock oat milk? She said, dropping her bag. It's done, Emily answered. It better be. No thank you, no acknowledgement. just expectation. Then the front door opened again. A young couple stepped in. Ashley flipped a switch. "Good morning." Bright, warm, engaging. Marcus watched it happen in real time. Two versions of the same person. One for show. One for control. A woman in a cleaning uniform stepped up next. Ashley smiled, disappeared. "What do you want?" Flat, fast. No eye contact. No name on the cup. Drink made. Placed down. Next, Marcus moved to the register. Opened the drawer to grab change. That's when he saw it, tucked between receipt paper and bills, a folded card, worn at the edges. He slid it out just enough to read. 2 columns, hearts, X marks. Names next to both. He didn't react, didn't pause. Just read Jake. Tips well. Blonde couple. Good vibe. Then the other side, Walter. Sits too long, lady with kids. Messy. Flannel man. Doesn't fit. Marcus felt something tighten in his chest. Flannel man. That was him. He folded the card back exactly how he found it. Closed the drawer. Said nothing. But everything shifted. Ashley leaned over to Megan, whispering. "If they're not brand fit," she said, "just slow it down. They'll leave." Megan nodded. "No scene. Just make it clear." Marcus stood there, still, listening. This wasn't random. This wasn't attitude. This was strategy. A system. Clean, quiet, invisible to anyone not paying attention. He looked over at Emily. She was restocking cups that didn't need restocking, avoiding the counter, avoiding the center, avoiding them. Marcus walked over. "Why are you always on mornings and closes?" he asked quietly. She didn't look at him. "Schedule," she said. "That's not random." No answer. He waited. Finally, she stopped moving, turned slightly. "You ask too many questions for a new guy." Her voice wasn't angry, just tired. Marcus nodded. "Fair." He stepped back, gave her space, but he had already seen enough. The list, the behavior, the silence. And the one person doing everything right being pushed out of sight. Marcus wiped down the counter slowly. Mind working, piece by piece. This wasn't about bad employees. This was structure. Reinforced, protected. He glanced at Ashley, laughing again. Confident, untouchable. For now. Marcus picked up a rag, ran it over the same spot twice. Then once more. Like he was cleaning something deeper than the surface. Because he knew now. This wasn't just about who they served. It was about who they erased. And tomorrow he was going to find out who was protecting it. The smell hit him before the man even spoke. Hospital antiseptic mixed with cheap coffee. Marcus looked up from the counter as the door opened. A woman stepped in, mid-50s. Scrubs wrinkled from a long shift. Badge still clipped to her pocket. Shoulders slightly slumped, like the day hadn't ended clean. She walked slower than the others, not tired in the usual way. Worn. She stepped up to the register. Ashley didn't smile. Didn't even look at her right away. "What do you want?" Same tone. Flat, dismissive. "Vanilla latte," the woman said quietly. "And a muffin." Ashley rang it up without a word. Didn't ask for a name. Didn't look at her face. The receipt printed. Ashley tore it off. Dropped it on the counter. The woman picked it up carefully, like it might break. "Name?" she asked, almost as an afterthought. "Patricia." Ashley grabbed the cup. Wrote something quick. Marcus leaned slightly. "Pat," not what she said. Not what she asked. Just shortened. Dismissed. The drink came out fast. Too fast. Milk not fully steamed. Foam uneven. Ashley slid it across the counter without eye contact. Next, Patricia took the cup. Stood there for a second. Like she wanted to say something. Didn't. She walked to a table near the window. Sat down. Marcus watched. She took one sip. Stopped. Looked at the cup. Then stood up. Walked straight to the trash. Dropped it in. Didn't finish it. Didn't complain. Just left. Marcus moved before he thought about it. He stepped out from behind the counter. Pushed through the door. The bell chimed again. Patricia was already sitting on the bench outside. Hands resting on her knees, empty. Marcus sat down beside her. Not too close. Just enough. "You all right?" he asked. She let out a small breath. Not a laugh. Not quite a sigh. "I just wanted a cup of coffee," she said. Her voice was steady. But there was something under it. Something older than this moment. Marcus nodded. "You deserved that," he said. She looked at him for the first time, really looked. Eyes tired, but sharp. "Funny thing," she said quietly. "It's never just the coffee." Marcus didn't answer, didn't need to. She shook her head slightly. "You walk into a place like that and you already know?" Before anyone says a word. She tapped her chest lightly. "You feel it right here." Marcus followed her gaze, back through the glass. Ashley laughing again, serving someone else. Some places, Patricia said, they don't say no. They just make you feel like you should never said yes. Marcus sat with that, let it settle. She stood up after a moment. Well, she said, have a good day. You too. She walked away without looking back. Marcus stayed on the bench longer this time, the noise from inside muffled by the glass. He pulled out his phone, typed a message. It's worse than we thought. He didn't send it right away. He looked up again, at the counter, at the system working exactly the way it was designed to. Then he hit send. Back inside, the shift moved toward closing. Emily wiped down the machines. Same rhythm, same silence. Ashley counted the register. Megan leaned against the counter, scrolling. Marcus stepped back behind the bar, watched, listened. At the end of the day, Ashley pulled the drawer open, cash out. Tips. She separated bills quickly. Practiced. 80% slid into one pile. The rest, smaller. Marcus said nothing, just watched. Emily didn't even look, like she already knew. Like she had stopped expecting anything different. Marcus waited until Ashley stepped away. Then he leaned in, checked the screen, tip distribution, same pattern, same imbalance, logged, saved, ignored. He pulled his phone out again, took a picture, clean, clear, evidence. Ashley came back, closed the drawer. Don't touch that, she said sharply. Marcus stepped back, just checking. She narrowed her eyes slightly, then shrugged it off. Not worth her time, not worth her attention. That was the problem. Marcus finished his shift without another word, clocked out, walked through the back door again. Same broken hinge, same peeling paint. Outside, the air felt colder, sharper. He stood in the alley for a moment, listening to the hum of the building behind him. This wasn't just bad management. This wasn't just attitude. This was theft. Of dignity. Of opportunity. Of truth. And it was protected from the inside. Marcus pulled out his phone again. Dialed. Ray answered on the first ring. Tell me you saw enough. Marcus exhaled slowly. I saw everything. A pause, then we move. Not yet, Marcus said. Ray went quiet. Marcus looked up at the sky above the alley. Dark now. Quiet. I want them all in one room, he said. Every employee in that store. Tomorrow morning? First thing. Ray hesitated. You're going to tell them who you are? Marcus thought about Patricia. About Walter. About Emily. About the list. The coins. The word rot. Yes, he said, his voice steady, controlled, final, and when I do, he glanced back at the building. Lights still on, system still running, this ends. The room felt smaller than it was, 14 chairs, fluorescent lights, the low hum of the espresso machine bleeding through the wall, like a reminder of what this place pretended to be. Everyone was there. Ashley sat in the second row, phone in her hand, tapping the screen like this was an inconvenience. Megan leaned back beside her, chewing gum, whispering something that made Ashley smirk. Daniel Brooks sat up front, arms spread, legs crossed, comfortable, too comfortable. Emily sat in the back, same posture as always, shoulders slightly forward, hands folded in her lap, quiet, invisible by habit. Marcus stood outside the door for a moment, hand on the handle, breathing steady. He could hear their voices inside, low, casual, unaware. He opened the door. It didn't slam. It didn't need to. The room shifted anyway. Marcus walked in wearing the same gray polo, same worn shoes, same face they had already decided didn't matter. He didn't rush, didn't look at anyone directly, just walked to the front, set a small folder on the table, turned and waited. 5 seconds. 7. The room quieted on its own. Ashley's tapping slowed, then stopped. Megan's gum paused mid-chew. Daniel straightened slightly. Marcus looked at them, all of them, then spoke. 4 days ago, he said, calm, even. I walked into this store and ordered a cortado. No one moved. The two people behind the counter looked at me and decided I didn't belong. Ashley's eyes flickered. Just a second. Then back to neutral. One of them told me to take my coffee and sit on the curb. Megan shifted in her chair. Daniel frowned slightly. Marcus didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. The other one said I probably stole my card. Silence, not the easy kind. The kind that tightens your chest. Marcus reached into his pocket, pulled out the folded card, set it on the table. This was in the register drawer. He opened it slowly, turned it so they could see. Hearts and X marks. No one spoke. Marcus read a few names. Walter sits too long. A pause. Lady with kids. Messy. Another pause. Flannel man. Doesn't fit. He lets that sit. Then looked up. That was me. Ashley's face changed. Not fully, but enough. Marcus stepped to the side, picked up a remote. The screen behind him lit up. Numbers filled the wall. Tip distribution. Last 12 months, he pointed. Ashley Carter, Megan Blake, 80%. A beat. Everyone else, 20. Emily's head lifted slightly, just a little. Marcus clicked again. Images appeared. Pages from a notebook. Dates circled. Recipes. Then another slide, corporate reports. Same recipes. Different name. 4 menu items, Marcus said. All created by Emily Parker. Every eye turned. Emily didn't move. Didn't breathe. Submitted to corporate under Daniel Brooks. Daniel leaned forward. That's not accurate, he said quickly. Those were regional initiatives. Marcus didn't look at him. He clicked again. 3 documents appeared. Employee complaints. Schedule fairness. Tip distribution. Credit for work. Each one signed, each one closed. No action. Signed by Daniel Brooks. Marcus turned slowly. Finally looked at him. You want to try that again? Daniel's jaw tightened. I can explain. Marcus took 1 step closer. I'm not finished. His voice dropped. Lower. Sharper. The room froze. Marcus turned back to the screen. Emergency contact file. A single line appeared. Ashley Carter, emergency contact. Daniel Brooks, relationship, uncle. The word hung in the air. Heavy. Final. Ashley looked down at the floor. Megan stopped chewing. Daniel didn't move. Marcus stepped back. Let the silence do its work. Then he spoke again. My name is Marcus Reed. A pause. I founded this company. Ashley's had snapped up. Megan blinked. Daniel went still. Marcus didn't change tone. Didn't need to. I built the first store with my own hands. He gestured around the room. This place was supposed to mean something. He looked at Emily, then back at the others. Everyone deserves a seat. No one spoke. No one moved. Marcus walked to the table, picked up 3 folders, placed one in front of Ashley. You're terminated, effective immediately. Her hands didn't move. Her eyes stayed locked on the table, for maintaining a system that decides who deserves respect. Another folder. Megan. Same terms. Her fingers trembled slightly. She didn't open it. Marcus turned, walked to Daniel, placed the last folder down. Carefully, not slid, placed. You're terminated for falsifying records, for suppressing complaints, and for protecting this system. Daniel's nostrils flared. His mouth opened, closed. No words came. Marcus straightened, looked at the rest of the room. This wasn't just 3 people. His voice steadied again. It was a system. He clicked once more. New slide, 4 points. Simple, clear, transparent tip distribution. Employee credit for work. Independent reporting, unannounced audits. Marcus let them read it, slowly. Then he turned. Looked at Emily. Stand up. She hesitated, then did. Slow, careful, like she wasn't sure this was real. Marcus picked up one last folder, different from the others, thicker. He held it out. Regional Innovation Lead, he said. Her eyes widened. Your name goes on everything you create. A beat. Starting now. Emily stepped forward, hands steady, took the folder, opened it, closed it again, tight against her chest. She didn't smile, not voluptuously, but something shifted. Small, real. Marcus nodded once, then looked back at the room. This place doesn't belong to me, he said quietly. It belongs to everyone who walks through that door. A pause, and starting today, his eyes moved across every face. We act like it. The door to the cafe opened at 6 the next morning. Not loudly, just enough to let the light in. Emily stood behind the counter, already moving. Same rhythm, same focus. But something was different. She wasn't in the back anymore. She was at the front. The chalkboard near the entrance had been wiped clean. Fresh writing covered it now. Careful, handwritten seasonal menu. Under each item, a name, not a code, not a department, a person. Emily Parker twice. She stepped back for a moment, looked at it, not smiling, just taking it in. The bell chimed again. Walter walked in, same coat, same slow steps. He paused near the door this time, looked around like he was checking if the room was still the same. It wasn't. A young barista at the register looked up, warm eyes, steady voice. Good morning, Walter. Oat milk cortado, extra warm? Walter blinked. How do you know my name? The barista smiled. We keep track of the people who matter. Walter let out a small laugh. Surprised, real. He walked to the window table. Sat down, didn't rush. Emily made his drink, same care as before, same precision. But this time, when she brought it over, her eyes met his. And this time, the smile reached them. Marcus stood near the door, not in a suit, not announced, just another customer, watching, listening. He ordered quietly, a cortado. The new barista nodded. Name, Marcus. She wrote it. Exactly. No shortcuts. No judgment. When she handed him the cup, she used both hands. Small detail, big difference. Marcus took it. Sat at the same corner table. The same one. 3 days ago, he had stopped mid-bite. Today, he picked up the banana bread again. Took a bite. Chewed. Swallowed. Didn't stop. The room felt different. Not louder. Not brighter. Just honest. Behind the counter, Emily moved with the same rhythm. But now people spoke to her. Asked her questions, listened. One of the new hires leaned in. Hey, is the maple cortado supposed to have that cinnamon note? Emily nodded. Light, not too much. You want people to notice it after the sip, not before. The barista nodded. Try it again. Better. Emily didn't take over, she guided. Across the room, a woman stepped in. Patricia. Same scrubs. Different posture. She hesitated at the door for a second, then stepped forward. The barista smiled. Good morning. What can I get started for you? Patricia looked at her, then at the board. Her name wasn't shortened this time. Her presence wasn't reduced. Vanilla latte, she said, and a muffin. Name, Patricia. The barista wrote it full, clear. She handed the drink over with both hands. Have a good morning, Patricia. Patricia took it slowly, walked to a table, sat down, took a sip. This time she didn't stop. Marcus watched her shoulders relax. Just a little. That was enough. Behind the counter, the ceramic tip jar sat front and center. Sunflowers painted along the side. Fresh. Bright, a small detail at the bottom. Initials. E.P. Marcus noticed. Emily noticed him noticing. Their eyes met for a brief second. No words. None needed. Walter stood to leave, walked to the counter, pulled out a $5 bill, dropped it into the jar, tapped the rim twice. See you tomorrow? Emily nodded. You always do. Marcus leaned back in his chair, took another sip. This time the coffee was right. Temperature, balance, care. But that wasn't what stayed with him. It was the space, the way people moved through it, without hesitation, without shrinking. Marcus finished his drink, stood, walked to the counter. The barista looked up. Have a great day. He nodded. You too. He stepped outside. The same sidewalk, same city, different wait. He didn't rush, didn't check his phone. Just stood there for a moment. Through the glass, he could see Emily laughing quietly with one of the new hires. Not loud, not forced, real. He thought about the list. The X marks, the quiet system that had erased people without ever saying the word no, gone, not completely, not everywhere. But here, for now, Marcus pulled his phone out, scrolled through messages, stopped on one ray. Everything looks different. Marcus typed back. It's not different. It's closer to what it was supposed to be. He paused, then added one more line. We just have to protect it. He put the phone away, took one last look inside, at Patricia, at Walter, at Emily, at a place that finally felt like it meant what it said. Then he turned, walked down the street, blended into the crowd. Just another man in a worn jacket. Easy to miss, easy to overlook, unless you knew where to look. Because the truth was never loud. It didn't need to be. It just needed someone willing to see it. And once it was seen, it changed everything. Inside the cafe, the chalkboard caught the morning light. One line stood at the bottom. Everyone deserves a seat. No explanation, no decoration, just the truth. Simple, clear, and finally, real. 3 weeks later, the cafe didn't slow down. It filled earlier, stayed fuller. Not louder, not chaotic, just steady. People came in and didn't hesitate at the door anymore. They didn't scan the room first, didn't brace themselves. They walked in like they belonged, because now they did. Marcus stood across the street again. Same spot, hands in his pockets, watching. He didn't come every day, that was the point. If it only worked when he was there, it wasn't real. Inside, Emily moved between stations, not rushed, not stressed, just in control. The new hires followed her lead, not perfectly, but honestly, that mattered more. At the register, Patricia stood where Ashley used to. Different posture, different presence. She made eye contact. Every time. Good morning. Name? Have a great day. Simple words. But she meant them, and people felt it. Marcus watched a man in a construction jacket step in. dust still on his boots. He hesitated at the entrance, just for a second. Then Patricia looked up. "Morning," she said. "What can I get started for you?" No pause, no judgment. The man relaxed. Shoulders dropped. He stepped forward. Marcus nodded to himself. That moment right there, that was the difference. Not the coffee, not the menu. That, inside, the tip jar sat nearly full. Bills, not coins. People weren't just paying, they were responding. To respect, to being seen. Marcus crossed the street, pushed the door open. The bell chimed. Patricia looked up, recognized him. A small smile. "Cortado?" He smiled back slightly. "Yeah, got it. No questions, no performance. Just recognition." Marcus stepped to the side, waited. He didn't skip the line, didn't use his name. Didn't need to. Behind the counter, a younger employee fumbled with the espresso machine. Steam hissed too long, milk too hot. Emily stepped in, not sharp, not critical. "Easy," she said. "Listen to it. You'll hear when it's right." She guided his hand slightly, not taking over, teaching. The kid nodded. "Tried again. Better." Emily stepped back. Let him finish. Marcus watched. That was leadership, not control, not pressure, presence. Across the room, Walter sat at his usual table. Window side, same seat. But now it wasn't something he had to earn. It was just his. He caught Marcus's eye. Nodded once. Respect, simple, clear. Marcus nodded back. When his drink was ready, Patricia handed it to him. Both hands. "Have a good one." "You too," he said. He sat down. Same table, same angle, same view, but the weight was gone. He took a sip, closed his eyes for a second. Not because it was perfect. Because it was right. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Message from Ray. "We're getting reports from 2 other locations." Marcus didn't respond right away. He looked up, watched Emily, watched Patricia, watched the room, then typed back. "Good," Ray replied almost instantly. "Good?" Marcus stared at the screen, then typed slowly. "Means we're finally seeing it." He set the phone down. That was the truth. This wasn't fixed, not everywhere, not yet. This was just one place, one correction, in a system that had gone unchecked for too long. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Let that settle. Across the room, a woman entered with 2 kids. They moved fast, loud, unpredictable. 3 weeks ago, that would have been a problem. Today, Patricia smiled. "Hey there," she said. "What can I get you guys?" One of the kids knocked into a chair. It scraped loudly. Heads turned. Patricia didn't flinch. "It's okay," she said gently. "Happens all the time." The mother exhaled. Relief, not embarrassment. That mattered. Marcus watched the kids settle at a table. Messy, real, allowed. He looked down at his cup, turned it slightly. His name written clearly. Marcus, no shortcuts, no assumptions. He traced the edge of the cup with his thumb, then stood, walked to the door, paused, looked back one more time, at the board, at the names, at a place that was finally honest about who made it work. He stepped outside, sun higher now, street busier, life moving. His phone buzzed again. Ray, conference call this afternoon. Board wants updates. Marcus smiled faintly. Of course they did. They always cared when things became visible. He typed back, "I'll be there," then added, "But we're not done." He slipped the phone into his pocket, started walking, not rushing, not looking back again, because he knew now. This wasn't about one store. It never was. It was about every place where someone walked in and wondered if they should leave. Marcus adjusted his jacket slightly, blended into the crowd again. Unnoticed, unremarkable, exactly the way he needed to be. Because the next time he walked into a place like that, he wouldn't be watching. He would be listening. And somewhere, someone else was about to be seen. The conference room didn't have windows. It never did. Marcus sat at the head of the table, not because he needed the position, but because that's where they expected him to be now. The gray polo was gone. So was the worn jacket, clean shirt, dark blazer, same man, different lens. Across from him, the board members shifted in their seats. Papers stacked neatly, tablets glowing, eyes sharper than before. They had read the reports. They had seen the numbers. Now they wanted control. Ray stood by the screen, clicking through slides. 3 locations flagged in the last 2 weeks, he said. 2 confirmed issues with tip allocation. 1 under review for customer complaints. A board member leaned forward, mid-60s. Silver hair, expensive watch. "So we shut them down," he said. "Clean house, replace staff, move on." Marcus didn't respond. Another voice joined in. We can't afford reputational damage. If this spreads, it affects the brand. Marcus looked up. Good, he said. The room paused. The silver-haired man frowned. Good? Marcus leaned forward slightly. If it spreads, he said, it means we're finally seeing it. Silence controlled. Tight. Ray didn't move. The board member shook his head. With respect, that's not how this works. We contain problems. We don't invite them. Marcus held his gaze. That's exactly how this works, he said quietly. No raised voice, no force, just certainty. You think this is about 3 stores, Marcus continued. It's not. He tapped the table once, soft. It's about every place where someone walks in and gets measured before they speak. No one interrupted. Marcus leaned back. Firing people fixes behavior, he said. It doesn't fix belief. The silver-haired man crossed his arms. So what's your solution? Marcus didn't answer right away. He looked around the room. At the people who had never stood behind that counter. Never watched someone hesitate at a door. Never seen a name shortened without permission. My solution, he said finally, is we stop pretending this is rare. He nodded to Ray. The screen changed, more locations, more patterns, same behavior, different faces. The board shifted uncomfortable now, not defensive, aware. This is systemic, Marcus said, which means we built it. A woman near the end of the table spoke up. Early 70s, calm voice, we failed to stop it. Marcus nodded once, same result. Ray stepped forward. We've drafted a rollout plan. Immediate implementation across all locations. He clicked again. Transparent tip system. Employee attribution. Third-party reporting. Unannounced audits. The same 4 points, now bigger. Real. A younger board member leaned forward. Audits by who? Marcus answered. Us, a pause. You mean corporate visits? The man asked. Marcus shook his head. No notice, no titles, no introductions. The room went quiet again. You walk in like everyone else, Marcus said. You see what they see. The silver-haired man exhaled. That's inefficient. Marcus didn't blink. It's honest. That landed. He could see it. Not agreement. Not yet. But something shifted. The woman at the end of the table nodded slowly. And if we don't do this? Marcus looked at her. Then at the rest of them. Then we keep growing something we don't understand. He let that sit. No one spoke. No one argued. Because they had all seen the same thing now. The data. The pattern. The truth. Marcus stood. Not dramatic. Just enough to change the room. I didn't build this company to be comfortable, he said, his voice steady. I built it to be right. He looked around one last time. Those are not the same thing. No one challenged him. Not this time. The meeting ended without applause. Without resolution. But something had moved. Outside, the city felt louder than before. Marcus walked out alone. No assistant. No entourage. Just him. He loosened his tie slightly as he stepped onto the sidewalk. The air hit his face. Different from the cafe. Different from the room. But connected, he pulled out his phone. Scrolled. Another message. From an unknown number, he opened it. Hi. I don't know who to contact, but something's not right at your store on Pine Street. Marcus read it twice. No name. No details. Just a feeling. He typed back. Tell me what you saw. He slipped the phone back into his pocket. Didn't hesitate. Didn't call anyone else. Because this was how it started. Always. Quiet. Small. Easy to ignore. Marcus stepped off the curb, merged into the crowd, blended again. A man in a suit now. But still, someone people could misread. And somewhere at a different counter, in a different store, someone was already being measured. Already being reduced. Already deciding whether to stay or leave. Marcus adjusted his jacket. Kept walking. Because now, he wasn't just fixing a company. He was following a pattern. And patterns, once exposed, don't stay hidden. Not if someone keeps showing up. Not if someone keeps listening. And Marcus Reed wasn't done listening. The cafe on Pine Street didn't look broken from the outside. Same clean glass. Same logo. Same promise printed on the door. Everyone deserves a seat. Marcus stood across the street reading it. Again, the message from the night before still sat in his pocket. No name, no details. Just a warning. He pushed the door open. The bell chimed. No one looked up, not immediately. Marcus stepped in slowly. Took in the room. Different layout. Different staff. Same feeling. He didn't go to the counter right away. He watched. A young man stood off to the side, holding a receipt. Mid-20s. Hoodie. Backpack slung over one shoulder. Waiting too long. Behind the counter, a barista laughed at something on her phone. Another leaned against the machine, arms crossed. The young man cleared his throat. Nothing. Marcus felt it again. That quiet shift. That invisible line. He stepped forward, took his place in line. When it was his turn, the barista looked up. Quick glance. Assessment. "What can I get you?" she said. Not rude, not warm, neutral. "A cortado," Marcus said. "Name?" "Hen reaction, no judgment. Not like before, but not right either. Just distant." Marcus stepped aside, waited. Behind him, a well-dressed man in a suit walked up. The barista straightened immediately. "Good afternoon," she said, voice brighter. Marcus didn't turn, didn't need to. He had heard that shift before. He watched the young man with the backpack, still waiting. Drink not ready. No update, no acknowledgement. Marcus walked over. "You've been here a while," he said quietly. The young man nodded. "Yeah. They said they called my name, but I didn't hear it." Marcus glanced at the counter. No cups with his name. No drinks sitting there. "They didn't call it," Marcus said. The young man gave a small shrug. Didn't argue, didn't complain, just accepted it. That was the part that stayed with Marcus. Not the delay, the acceptance. He stepped back, watched longer. Patterns formed quickly. Not as obvious as before, no open comments. But it was there, subtle, controlled. Certain customers got eye contact, others got efficiency. Some got warmth, others got silence. No one could point to it, but everyone could feel it. Marcus's phone buzzed. He stepped outside, answered. "Ray." "We pulled internal reports from Pine Street," Ray said. "No red flags on paper. Of course not." A pause. "What are you seeing?" Ray asked. Marcus looked back through the glass. At the young man as still waiting. At the barista laughing again. "Same system," Marcus said. "Cleaner. Meaning? No evidence." "That's just harder to prove." Marcus nodded to himself. "Not for me." He hung up, walked back inside. This time he didn't wait. He stepped straight to the counter. The barista looked up. "Yes?" Marcus held her gaze, calm, steady. "His drink," he said, nodding toward the young man. "It's not ready." The barista frowned slightly. "It's in the queue." "No," Marcus said. "It's not." Her expression shifted, defensive now. "I made it." Marcus didn't raise his voice. "Then show me." A beat. The room quieted just enough. People noticed. Not fully, but enough. The barista turned, looked behind her. Nothing, no cup, no ticket, no drink. Silence stretched. The young man stepped forward slightly. "It's okay," he said quickly. "I can wait." Marcus looked at him. Really looked. "You already did," he said. The barista grabbed a cup. Started making the drink. Faster now, tighter movements. No eye contact. Marcus didn't move. Didn't step back. He stood there, present, watching. The drink was finished. Set on the counter. The young man reached for it. "Thank you," he said. "Quiet." Marcus nodded once. The young man left. No complaint, no scene, just gone. Marcus stayed. The barista avoided his eyes. Went back to her station. The moment passed. Or at least that's what it looked like. Marcus stepped back slowly. Took his own drink when it was called. Walked to a table. Sat down. Same pattern, different place. More careful, more hidden, but still there. He took a sip. Didn't taste it, didn't need to. His phone buzzed again. "Ray, do we shut it down?" Marcus looked around the room. At the customers, at the staff, at the system still breathing under the surface. He typed back. "No." A second later, Ray replied. "Then what?" Marcus watched the door. Another customer stepping in. Hesitating, just for a second. He typed slowly. "We teach them to see it." He set the phone down, leaned back in his chair. Because this was the part no one wanted. Not the firing, not the exposure. This part, where you don't just remove the problem. You change the way people recognize it. Marcus stood, walked to the door, paused, looked back one more time. Not at the barista, not at the counter, at the people. The ones who stayed quiet. The ones who didn't know what they were feeling. The ones who thought it was just them. He pushed the door open, stepped outside, and this time, he already knew what he was going to do next. Not shut it down, not walk away, but walk back in, again and again, until no one had to wonder anymore if they belonged. The meeting at Pine Street was not announced. No emails, no warnings, just a message sent at closing the night before. Mandatory staff meeting, 8 a.m. When the employees walked in, the chairs were already set. Same tight room, same fluorescent lights, different tension. The barista from the counter sat near the middle, arms crossed, eyes guarded. She didn't recognize the man standing at the front yet. Not in the blazer, not without the worn jacket. Marcus didn't speak right away. He let the silence build. People shifted in their seats, whispered, checked their phones. Then he stepped forward. Yesterday, he said calmly, a customer waited for a drink that was never made. The barista's posture changed, just slightly. Marcus continued, no apology, no acknowledgement, just delay. He looked around the room, not because you were busy. A pause. Because you decided he could wait. No one spoke. The manager of the store, a man in his 40s, cleared his throat. We handle dozens of orders an hour. Mistakes happen. Marcus nodded once. They do. Then he stepped closer. But this wasn't a mistake. The room tightened. Marcus reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, tapped the screen. The monitor behind him lit up. Security footage. No sound. Just movement. The young man with the backpack. Standing, waiting. The barista laughing. Looking away. Timestamp running in the corner, minute after minute. No order placed. No drink made. Marcus paused the video. Turned back to the room. This, he said quietly, is what it looks like when someone is ignored on purpose. The barista looked down now. The manager shifted in his seat. That's one moment, the manager said. You can't judge an entire store on that. Marcus didn't respond. He tapped the screen again. Another clip. Different day, different customer. Same pattern. Then another, and another. Small moments. No one yelling, no one breaking rules on paper, but the same outcome. People waiting. People overlooked. People leaving. The screen went dark. Marcus turned. My name is Marcus Reed. The room froze. I founded this company. The words didn't land all at once. They sank, slow, heavy. The barista's eyes lifted. Recognition hit late, hard. The manager stood halfway. Sir, I didn't realize that's the point, Marcus said. His voice stayed level. You didn't realize. Silence. No one moved. Marcus stepped closer to the table. You built a system here, he said. Not with rules, with habits. He looked at the barista. You didn't tell him to leave. A pause. You made him feel like he should. The barista swallowed. Didn't argue. Couldn't. Marcus turned to the manager. You let it happen. The man opened his mouth, closed it. No defense came. Marcus didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. I've seen this before, he said. Different faces. Same pattern. He picked up a folder. Set it in front of the manager. You're being removed from your position. Effective immediately. The man didn't reach for it. Didn't protest. Just sat there. Marcus placed another folder on the table. For the rest of you, he said, this is not about punishment. He let that sit. This is about awareness. He stepped back, gave them space. You don't fix this by being told what not to do. His eyes moved across the room. You fix it by seeing what you've been doing. The barista looked up, eyes wet now, not from shame alone, from recognition. Marcus nodded slightly. That's where it starts. Ray stepped forward from the side of the room, handed out new documents, training protocols, reporting lines, clear, direct. Marcus didn't watch the papers. He watched the people, how they held them, how they read, how they reacted. Because that was where change lived, not in policy, in choice. He turned to leave, then stopped, looked back once. At every store, he said, there's a moment. He pointed toward the door. When someone walks in and decides whether they belong, he let the words settle. You don't always hear that decision. A pause. But you're part of it. No one spoke. No one needed to. Marcus walked out. The door closed behind him. Outside, the street moved like it always did. Cars passing, people talking, life continuing. He stood there for a second, then exhaled. Not relief, not victory. Something quieter, something earned. His phone buzzed. A message. From the unknown number again. Thank you. I came back today. It felt different. Marcus read it once, then again. He didn't reply. He didn't need to. He slipped the phone into his pocket. Started walking. Same pace. Same presence. The man people could still misread. Still overlook. And maybe that was the point. Because the truth wasn't in who he was. It was in what people did when they thought he wasn't anyone. He passed a cafe on the next block. Different name, different door, same sign, open. He glanced inside. People talking, laughing, moving. He didn't go in, not today. But he would. Soon enough. Because somewhere there was always another place. Another moment. Another decision waiting to be made. Marcus adjusted his jacket slightly, kept walking. And if you've ever stepped into a place and felt that hesitation, that quiet question of whether you belong, pay attention to it, because it matters. And sometimes, the smallest moment, the way someone looks at you, the way they speak, the way they don't, that's where the truth lives. So the next time you see it, the next time you feel it, don't ignore it. Because change doesn't start with power. It starts with noticing, and then choosing to do something about it.